EzUHF. A lot of people are flying with EzUHF, and last night I spent hours trying to get the damn thing working with my other models. Now I've got the module in the back. That has to be the same firmware as your models. So whenever you do an upgrade on this, you then have to do all your models, which is bloody annoying. However, you also need to download the latest firmware tool. I went on and plugged in my Disco, my TBS Discovery, and immediately flashed it with the newer firmware, and I had an absolute nightmare of a time. I ended up having to flash the NASA controller. I didn't know what the hell was going on. There was things going nuts. I'm assuming that some of you out there may be watching this video trying to figure out where you're going wrong. What you need is to download the latest EzUHF tool. Now, I didn't do that. As a result, I ended up getting in a bit of a state. So it's the immersionrc.com. Download the tool. You'll find it in one of the firmware driver options, and it's the configuration tool I'm using is 1.425. Now I was using a 1.41, an older version. Now you would think, will it make much difference? Yes, because there's got extra functions. You can then set the receiver to be a conventional UHF receiver or a super duper with a new connection protocol. I'll see whether I can get it on the screen to. It's got, you can set, when you've downloaded the new firmware, you then can look to set up the for traditional EzUHF transmission, which is what you generally want, or you can set up for the new low latency transmission mode. It's a fast transmission synchronized to TX, 5-channel transmitted from RX, PPM 6-channel, output for control plus upstat, failsafe suspends PPM emission. Yeah, maybe not for us. So without clicking the button to say set up for traditional EzUHF transmission, you were in for a night of fun like I was. And if you're watching this video because you've already trashed your models and thrown your dolls at the pram and kicked up a big tantrum, then join the club, mate. Anyway, what I've done, I've downloaded the new software tool, a configuration tool. I've also downloaded all the firmware. Now, when you download the firmware for, say, your transmitter module, the JR module on the back, you think you've downloaded the firmware for that, but in the firmware list there is all the other devices except the Nano. You've got to download that independently, but you've got everything covered in there. So once you've downloaded it, they're all there, but they don't tell you that in great detail, but they got an option to download them all on all the other devices. And so the first time you do it, you'll click on it and thinking, which one do I select? There's about 15 different options. But if you look carefully, you'll see that they're receiver, RX, TX for transmitter, and so on, so on, so on. And you have the UK compliant firmware, and you also have the standard firmware. So be careful. It will prompt you to saying you're installing the wrong firmware. However, you have the option to carry on. So be careful. Make sure you're updating the right one. There's light versions, there's the diversity, and there's the 4-channel. So they cover all bases. So it's this video now is basically me going through my models, updating the firmware, doing it textbook method, binding from the software, and I hope you enjoy it. Last night, like I said, I was pulling my hair out, what was left of it, and I really got my back up. I was cursing EzUHF, And this morning I sat down, did it step by step logically, and guess what? It worked. Download the configuration tool. Did I say download the configuration tool? Get the latest configuration tool, and then you should be okay. But be careful, make sure you go through all the settings. Now, once you've done all these settings, plug them into your NASA software, into your flight control software, and double check, because the settings may have changed. You might find slight differences. So you need to check, recalibrate, do all your bits to do as if you're setting up the new model again. Pain in the ass, I know, but that's what updating firmware is. What else? Fail safes. When you've finished, make sure you set all your fail safes. Flick a switch to high power on your battery transmitter, set your switches, etc. where you want them to be. Press the bind button for 2 or 3 seconds and you go beep. And then basically that tells your receiver on the craft, this is the last signal and this is the signal you're going to hold when you lose communication. And it's as simple as that. Now, you know, it's not rocket science, but it is a pain in the ass, I got to admit. So if you found your way to this video because of problems you're having, then it's probably you've hit the same stumbling block as myself. So flash them all, get them all done, and hopefully we'll be okay with this firmware for the foreseeable future. So good luck, and I hope you enjoy the video. Thank you.